if you like Sicko specials, you're in for a treat with our next bowl game preview. It's the LendingTree Bowl. It's Rice. It's Southern Mississippi. It is 5:45 p.m. on ESPN Saturday. Um, Garrett, I don't know what much else to say about this game other than it's not going to be pretty, most
Nope.
likely, but I think it is going to be super fun. I think you look at these two teams, you look at Rice, team that went 5-7 this year, quote unquote, not supposed to be here. You know, I love the narrative of not supposed to be here in college
Mhm.
football. It seems like those teams always kind of outperform expectations. And yes, they went 5-7. Yes, they were under 500, but man, they've got a QB and TJ McMahon that just slings it up to whoever it is. And speaking of the sickos committee, I don't know if you're familiar with their Detmer metric, where they just kind of rank QBs on their just chuck it up ability.
Yep.
He's very high in that metric. So if you like a guy that just kind of runs out guns a blazing, tune into this game, watch TJ McMahon. And Southern Miss, they were at times an ugly 6-6, but they're back bowling for the first time in a little bit. And anytime they have at any time they have four players who can attempt to pass. They might throw out four different players that'll attempt to pass in this
That's
game. So
crazy.
what's not to like, man? I don't know. Rice is dealing with some serious injuries, including McMahon. So we're actually not sure who's going to start at quarterback for the Owls as we get closer and closer to this game. Also, former quarterback turned star wide receiver Luke McCaffrey is dealing with some injuries as well. Those are going to hurt the Owls down. Those hurt the Owls down the stretch, and they couldn't knock off this Conference USA heavyweights, UTSA and Western Kentucky, to actually achieve traditional bowl eligibility. Still a really strong season for the Owls, though. A bounce back year. They're definitely building something down there in Houston. For the Golden Eagles, they shockingly, in hindsight, beat Tulane early on, but no other really impressive results. It didn't really surprise you. They kind of beat the bad teams that they were supposed to beat, lost to the good ones, did have a pretty nice win against Louisiana sprinkled in there. But for the Golden Eagles, it's Frank Gore Jr. that carries the majority of this offense. I mentioned that they have four guys that'll pass the ball. That's really out of necessity because it's kind of riding the hot hand at times.
Yeah.
But Frank Gore Jr. is this offense. He's been a 1,000-yard rusher this year. And yes, he is related to Frank Gore Sr., the longtime NFL running back. So if you like that connection, definitely tune into this one. But Garrett, what do you think Rice coming in definitely as the underdog in this one? What do they have to do to sneak in here and steal this game?
Well, let me tell you, the first thing is they got to figure out who's playing quarterback, right?
Yeah.
They don't know. Obviously, some injury concerns. If they don't have McMahon, then you're looking around saying, okay, who's the next guy up, right? Not a whole lot of experience behind him, and so you're gonna have to find a way to get good production from your quarterback there, and plain and simple, stop Frank Gore Jr. Right? If you're on defense, you got to load up the box, find a way to stop him, and force any of their four passers. When you have four quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right? So if you've got that many guys who could pass the football, try to force one of them to beat you. I think if you look up and you've held Frank Gore Jr. to a low number, you're probably happy about your performance in this game. And you can't turn the ball over, right? The turnovers have killed the Owls. So many of their losses this year. Southern Miss finished sixth in the nation in interceptions with 16. So it's not maybe going to be good for whoever is passing this football. You're going to have to really be careful, take care of that football, not force anything down the field, especially if you're a backup here. And you especially don't want to do this to a run first team who's going to keep you off and maybe limit your opportunities, right? So take both those things away. Hey, you could be looking at Rice finding a bowl win for the first time since 2014.
That'd be pretty exciting down in Houston. I know they would be stoked to have that happen. For Southern Miss, though, I think, they're coming into this one as the favorites. I really think it's as simple as the reverse of the Rice plan, right? Just do what you do best. Run the football with Frank Gore. Don't try to get cute on offense. Rice has really struggled to stop the run this year and bait whoever's playing quarterback for the Rice Owls into picks. Just do what you're supposed to do. Do what you've been doing all year. Do what's gotten you here. And really, more than anything, don't fall into the not happy to be here curse. It's really easy for these teams that earned a spot in the bowl game to feel slighted, feel like, we have to play this team that didn't even have the right to be here. While those guys on the other sideline are just absolutely stoked and excited to be there. That's a real issue in college football, and that
Hmm.
can swing games on a dime. So don't fall into that trap, Southern Miss. Do what you do best, run the football, take away Rice a couple times through the air, and I think they're cruising out of here with a victory. If you got a score prediction, Garrett, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, man, I got to be honest. I want to root for Rice in this one. We're a Texas-based podcast, so I'd like to root for the Texas teams when I get a chance. I'm just not seeing the path here. Too many question marks for me on Rice's side. I think Southern Mississippi wins this one kind of comfortably. I'll go maybe, let's say, 31-14, something like that. I think they'll put up a good number, like you're saying, turn them over a couple of times and get some shorter fields to convert on some touchdowns.
Yeah, just too many question marks for the Rice Owls, and they had such a rough end of the season. Rough schedule to end the season, but a really rough end of the season. Southern Miss almost had a rough end of the season, but they salvaged it against ULM in the last week. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 27-13. Southern Miss pulls it out, and that's not trying to be like an indictment on Rice's offense. I think, like you said, we just don't know who's gonna be playing quarterback. There's too
Yeah.
many questions. Southern Miss has a really good defense for the most part.
Gracious him. How about that?